And now it's moving. Stop moving. For fuck's sake, this thing isn't that heavy. So maybe like here-ish, I think. Okay. Hey guys, so I know that this week was supposed to be the RTX Austin trip weekly vlog video, but I mean, as you can see, because of my messy hair and the bags under my eyes, I just got back to Albuquerque, and it was a 10-hour road trip. I only got about 2 hours of sleep last night, so I am exhausted. And not only that, but there is a lot of footage from Austin and RTX that I gotta kind of go through. So in order to get a vlog out this week, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this week's vlog and next week's vlog and basically switch them. What I'm going to talk about today instead is I kind of had an epiphany while I was on this trip, and it was mostly when I was coming back. What I wanted to talk to you guys about was, of course, just a couple things that I'm going to change up here in my life just to, you know, kind of switch things up a little bit. So for starters, the first thing I'm changing about my life is from here for a while, I'm just stopping drinking. Over the summer, because I had a lot of free time and work wasn't really busy and stuff like that, I kind of got into a habit of just having like a drink, you know, every day, like 1 beer or 2 beers or something like that. And to be 100% honest, I mean, we all know this. It makes you feel bad. Like, you know, you feel good for a couple hours, but then the aftermath is always just like a headache and all that kind of stuff, and you're dehydrated, and then the next morning you're just like you don't want to do anything. So I'm going to be giving that up, and I actually think this is the best time to give it up because with how busy work is going to get, it's going to kind of help me. I'm going to be too busy working that I won't even have time to like go out to a bar or do any of that stuff, so that's going to help me out a lot. And then not only that, but after this month is done, I don't have Topes anymore because the end of the season is done. And Topes is a big source of my main fun money, as I call it. The pay that I get from Lobos basically pays all my bills, and maybe a little bit of extra money just to keep food in the fridge. But there's not enough money for just fun money. So that's also going to help me out, is I'm not going to go spend money at the bar because I don't really have it to spend. So that's the first thing I'm changing. Secondly, when I was driving back today, Jack drove the first little bit of the trip, like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, something like that. And then I took over. Last night I only got 2 hours of sleep, like I said, and so I was exhausted by the time it got to my point to drive because RJ was in the back, he was passed out. So I went in, I got a 5-hour energy shot, and of course those fucking things don't work on me at all. I don't know why they don't affect me, so I had to find a way to basically keep myself awake while I was driving for about 300 miles. What I did was, since Jack passed out in the passenger seat and RJ was passed out in the back, you know, is I put on my old iPod Nano from high school, because I always take this with me on my trip just because, you know, it still has a lot of the old music I used to listen to. And I basically just sang along to the songs, like, you know, just as I was driving, and it kept me alert, kept me awake, and, you know, kept me going. But one of the things that I realized listening to these songs from the olden days is a lot of the songs I used to choose to listen to had some relevance to something that was going on in my life. Like some emotions I was feeling, some thoughts that I was having, like all that. There was some relation to the songs that I chose to put on my iPod to how I was feeling at the time. And nowadays, the weird thing is, when I actually look at it, a lot of the songs that I do listen to nowadays are just like catchy, repetitive, just good lyrics, but not relevant lyrics like they used to be for me. And I think that has also been kind of a problem because I use nothing but Pandora and like YouTube playlists to like listen to stuff, and so that gets pretty repetitive like all the time. So I end up listening to just the same songs over and over and over again that have no relevance, but hey, catchy beats, catchy tunes. Back in the day too, like those lyrics and stuff like that used to actually inspire my writing and, you know, what I was writing about and how I was writing it. To be 100% honest, I've been in a 2 years writer block. You know, I'm always talking about my books, but I haven't added anything new to the books in about 2 years. Everything that I did, even back on the vlog where I was going to the coffee house to write, I was actually rewriting parts that I had already written. I didn't add anything new to the story, like to continue it or anything like that. And so I feel like I need to get back in touch with music and figure out like songs nowadays that I can relate to, which obviously it's changed over the years. I mean, that was over 10 years ago. So songs nowadays might be different, but I need to find more music that I can relate to in that sense. Then of course, the last thing that kind of goes along with that is I've been having a lot of problems recently, struggling with not really liking who I am right now. Like, over the past 3 years, I've slowly started to not really like where I'm going with life, how I'm acting, like what I'm doing, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the problems with that actually comes from the fact that, again, the life that I'm living is repetitive. It's, there's no creativity to it. It's, wake up, go to work. For a while there, it was, have a drink when I came home, and then go to bed, and then wake up, and then go to work, and then, just rinse and repeat. And there's no time for like actual creative thought or, thinking like that. And because of that, most of the time when I'm walking around work and stuff like that, I'm kind of lost in my own head. I'm like almost like a zombie just walking around, just lost in my own thoughts. And so when people try to talk to me, just out of the blue, like, oh, hey, Steven, blah, 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 I end up literally like freezing like a deer in headlights, and I don't know what to say, and I end up fumbling words and stuttering and just having a blank mind, just freezing completely. And it makes me look like a weird dude. And back in the day, I used to never be able to do that. If someone was talking to me, I'd be able to talk to them. And so I feel like there's a issue going on there with me that I would like to fix. And the talking to people thing became most apparent to me at RTX. I mean, these guys are my idols. I've followed them for many years, but previously, whenever I would run into them, like in a hallway or something like that, I could talk to them. I would go up to them and I'd be like, hi, hey Bernie, I'm Steven Williams. Nice to meet you. I love your work, stuff like that. And I would talk, just talk person to person, treat them like a person. But this year, I bumped into several of them and I just froze. I had nothing to say and I just mumbled and stuttered. And there was one time they were doing trivia and someone just like walked up to me and shoved a mic in my face and was like, what do you think the answer is? Like, take a guess. And I just froze and literally couldn't even come up with an answer. And they were just like, oh, that's no fun. I was like, I could have just said anything and at least, made a joke about it. But no, I froze. I just could not respond. I was like, I don't know. And it just sucked. And there's a quote that actually kind of relates to all of this that I really like. I've known this quote for a long time and it's always been one of my favorites. But it goes that, although the law has many penalties for the atrocities we inflict on others, there are no punishments for the terrors we inflict on ourselves. And I actually really like that quote because it basically tells you, like, you can't trust society to pull you out of that rut. If you're in a cycle, if your mind is working differently and you're having your own internal conflicts, of living by yourself, living a repetitive life, and you don't like it, like, only you can get yourself out of it, because no one else really cares about it because there are no laws against internal turmoil. But it also allows you to have a chance to pull yourself out of the rut. And that's what I'm trying to do now with all the above things that I listed, getting back into music and, just trying to mix things up a little bit and just find some more experiences so that I can break myself out of this. And it's, of course, that turmoil that I'm dealing with inside my own head that, that's creating these social issues and not being able to talk to people that over the past 3 years, I've pushed a lot of people away. Like, a lot of people have moved on, they don't talk to me anymore, and that doesn't help with the turmoil stuff that I have going on in my head. But before I can fix those relationships, I gotta fix what's going on inside my head. So that's really one of the big things that I'm gonna be shooting for over the next couple months, is getting myself back attuned to who I used to be, rather than who I am right now, because nobody likes this right now. But the fact is I'm working on it and it starts today. So here's hoping everything gets improved. And that's all I got for this week. And next week I will have the RTX video for you guys. It's gonna have a lot of content in it. It's gonna be really fun. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. And so thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you later.